What up, everybody? It's Will, and this is my channel. What a fucking week. I mean, if you haven't been living under a rock since my last video, then you're aware of the war that is going on in Ukraine. And if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm not really 100% sure how I feel about it, other than I wish it wasn't happening, and my empathy is with the defenders in this instance, Ukraine. I've been exposed to some interesting ideas as of late, specifically the difference between relative and universal ethics, the consent of the human body during conscription or when drafted, and the idea that waging war for democracy might be the only way to defend against global fascism. These ideas had been on my mind, but they've been amplified since my conversation with today's guest. Today's video features one of my favorite streamers, as well as Twitch's favorite liberal hawk, Kevin Cassley of Superpower Broadcasting. Kevin has been one of those streamers I've been following for a while. I saw him originally on the Hippy Dippy debate panels, doing something very intriguing. In the same 3 or 4 hour time period, Cassley would excellently defend a topic. Then, the topic would change, and he would find himself debating against every single person that agreed with him on the previous topic. If I had to describe Cassley, I would say that he definitely knows what his morals are, and he is very conscious of how he frames the world stemming from those universal morals and ethics. On top of that, he's willing to fight for his ideas, at least in the conversational space that has been afforded to him. Kevin already posted the first and second chunk of our talk, where we talk about relative and universal ethics, something that I was startlingly unaware of. So I'm gonna link them here. Go check him out and give him a follow. His content is definitely longer, so I would treat it more similarly to a podcast. In a couple weeks, I'm going to post a huge talk that I had with Savannah of Destiny debate panel fame about consent and the draft. It is an excellent follow-up to this video, so stay tuned. A new film photography video about the magic city of Guanajuato, Mexico is in the final stage to cleanse your palate after that. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. I want to know if you think it's possible for there to exist a world without war that isn't a utopia. I got full timestamps down below to skip any boring parts if you feel inclined. And now, I present to you Kevin Cassley of Superpower Broadcasting.
It's really that simple. So now if you got any questions, definitely feel free to ask. I've been talking for about 20 minutes now, but that's the key to get to basically 1,000 subs and to build a community there. So in terms of political content creation.
Nice. I think political content's probably like 20%, I think, of what I do. I think that's kind of one of the nice things about what I'm doing, is that a lot, like, I'm doing a lot of other side content, a lot of thought pieces, I shoot a lot of film photography, so I make film photography videos, make all my own music, so that's kind of
what genre of music?
I would say hip-hop rap music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't personally
rap. I can't say I'm really much a fan of like hip-hop or rap. I'm more like a synth-pop, EDM, trance kind of guy myself.
My degree is in audio engineering, so I'm very
that's cool.
I love all kinds of music. I'm very familiar with mixing it up, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's cool. I love music. I am a huge music fan. People who know me know I'm big on the music. You use Last.fm by any chance?
I do not. I'm actually a big YouTube music user.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you ever look into getting Last.fm? It's really good. There's a social network on there, and there's an algorithm on there that will recommend you artists you've never heard of that's far better than Spotify. Though Spotify is getting better with their algorithm.
I hate Spotify. The thing that I really like about the YouTube music is that it actually encapsulates even stuff that isn't technically like music on YouTube. So you can still search that and it pops up. So you end up getting like recommended like super goofy stuff, which I really enjoy. They have a really interesting algorithm over there on the YouTube music thing. But anyways,
no, fair enough. Yeah, Last.fm's more specifically geared around music in the traditional sense of music. But yeah, no, YouTube for sure.
No, music.youtube.com. Like it's literally the whole the subsection, like you have to pay, you have to pay for YouTube Premium to use it,
Oh, okay. I've never used that then before. I wouldn't be able to comment on that. All I'm saying is if you're looking for new artists and stuff, obscure artists and everything, after using Last.fm for a few years, the algorithm on there is pinpoint in terms of recommending you stuff that you'll like. from around the world. So your background is in audio engineering. No, that's pretty cool. So are you looking to do that then? I guess like kind of like as a full-time career and everything down the road, or?
I already am. Yeah.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is for fun, you know. This is
Yeah.
for pleasure. But I'd like to kind of steamroll it, you know, into maybe some kind of a side hustle. You know, I think the reality of all this stuff is that most people should look at content creation as a side hustle. You know, something that you enjoy
Yeah.
doing. If you don't enjoy doing it, that would be my first thing. My first thing to say to you is go stop. Like, why are you doing this if you don't even enjoy it? Because it's not going to be profitable for any reasonable amount of time. You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess to some extent I would disagree with that a little bit. I think for me personally, and I can speak to this more, it's never been about profit. It's been about how can we hawk pill as many people as possible before our civilization is destroyed, basically, you know? Because as far as I see it, we've only got a few decades at this rate before the West is over. We're lost. China's going to win. Russia's going to win. We're moving in a dangerous direction towards multipolarity right now. And that's a recipe for either world war if we're lucky, or outright being dissolved like the Soviets did and not even have a fighting chance in a war. So
I kind of agree with
that's
you
where
pretty
I'm
much
at.
on all of those points. Pretty much on everything you just said. As dismal
Yeah.
and as nihilistic as that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think people think I have a lot more fun doing this than I actually do. No, it's stressful. Not gonna lie, it's stressful. This is like a job for me, but it's also it's also a political calling. It's like I've said before, I could have been born in Afghanistan, could have been born in North Korea. They have similar populations to the country I live in, and if I were born there, I'd be fucked. So this is the least that I can do to stand in solidarity with the people that are right now being oppressed by the Kim regime and the Taliban. So,
well, God bless America. I have like literally 10 more minutes before I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
May I? Can we do like a quick questionnaire where I just I got like 6 questions here and we just try to do them quick.
Sure.
All right. Where are you from?
So I'm from British Columbia, Canada.
Is that where you are right now, Canada?
Yep.
Interesting. So when you're talking about all of your politics stuff, you're definitely, you know, you're looking through a Canadian lens.
To some extent, people don't care about Canadian politics though, and I've said before, American politics affects us more because Canada would be a Soviet colony without the United States, for example. So
For sure.
We're vastly overshadowed by the U.S. In fact, based on YouTube analytics, the majority of my viewers, like across the entire channel, live in the United States out of all the countries in the world. So
I mean, if I had to guess, I thought you would have lived in America.
Oh, really? Okay.
Just yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. That's very interesting. It's interesting to hear an outside perspective. It's interesting to hear a Canadian's perspective on like our military as an American. This is really.
Oh well, my perspective is the same as the Canadian military. It's just the Canadian military is nowhere near as big. So everything I advocate for the U.S. to do, all NATO countries to do, with the exception of owning nukes. I'm a staunch opponent of nuclear proliferation. I think it's dangerous. I'd like to see a world where only the U.S. has nuclear weapons. So.
Classic, super based.
Yeah. But no, like for example, I talk about getting military spending up to 8%. People are like, oh, why don't you do it in Canada? I'm like, yeah, we need to do it in Canada, the US, the UK, France, etc. Every NATO country should be at 8%. The US was at 8% during the Cold War. We've got 2 Cold Wars now. If anything, as Reese said, spooky nukies, we should be at 16%. We have 2 Cold Wars. At least in the old one, the Chinese were on our side if a war broke out. Now they're against us. Now they're with Russia. They used to be against Russia with us. So we should be spending more on the military.
China's really scary. China is so scary. The more I learn about China, the more just scared. It's a rabbit hole of just horrible, horrible dark thoughts.
Oh, it's awful, and the degree to which they've got our leadership here in Canada by the balls is it's pathetic. It's disgraceful. Our House of Commons unanimously regarded what was happening in Xinjiang as a genocide, and our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau refused to do it. He abstained. Why? Because there's too much money there. Like the neoliberal establishment is obsessed with the sweatshop labor, and they will not give it up.
That is one of my biggest things that I hate about like liberals for the most part. They rarely ever want to talk about that when they want to talk about consumerism. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm a liberal. I'm a
feel
liberal.
you.
I'm a what I call myself a ruthless liberal. So I believe state interests trump any business or personal interest. So I don't believe you should be allowed to trade with the enemy, for example.
Hold on,
Make a
before
quick
you,
cut.
before you. This is my next question. What does it
Yeah,
mean to
yeah.
be a liberal hawk?
Yeah, so liberal hawk, somebody who basically, so I guess there's two components to that. There's the liberal side, which is based on the idea of property rights, free markets, individual freedom, sexual freedom, all that good stuff. And then there's the hawk side, and hawk side is based on proactiveness. It's based on preemption. It's based on the idea that the best offense is a good defense. It's based on the idea that it's better to kill the enemy there than wait for them to come over and kill you over here.
Say the best
And
offense
so,
is a good defense, or the best defense is a good offense?
Oh, well, the best defense is a good offense.
Just wanted to clarify.
Because we're trying to protect, like, basically the way that we see it is that we can't save anybody else if we're not secure. So our security has to come first. And so obviously, if you look up like Wikipedia or whatever, you're going to see a diverse range of liberal hawks. In fact, you'll see everybody put on there from FDR, who was very sympathetic to Joseph Stalin, all the way to Harry Truman, who was radically anti-Soviet. So that's a pretty big spectrum of people. You'll see, for example, people put on there that include folks like Tony Blair, for example, who's considerably to the left of a lot of the liberal hawks today. And so it's a pretty big range. But the hawk side, the liberal side, you put it together, basically it's somebody who believes in liberalism and somebody that believes that liberalism should be defended proactively and it should be propagated by force, and that this will result in world peace. This will result in a world of a federation of democracies, and we can get to a point down the road in the next few hundred to 1,000 years in which no matter which coordinates on the world any child would be born, they would have the same opportunities of success and access to food and wealth and prosperity as anybody today born in Australia or Montana or London, right? So it shouldn't depend on what coordinates you are. The whole world should be Western. In fact, there shouldn't even be a West. It should just be the world, a liberal capitalist utopia of peace. And that's where we're at. So that's a liberal hawk.
What?
And there's a big difference between us and neocons in that sense.
Which is literally my next question. Wow.
Yeah.
God damn, you're writing these questions for me. What differentiates you from a neoconservative? And if you could, can you explain it in a way like ELI 5? I think my audience is not super up on here. You know what I mean?
Wait, EL5, explain
like I'm 5, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. Well, I mean, to the extent that I can do that, the biggest difference between a liberal hawk and a neoconservative is that a liberal hawk is a liberal and a neoconservative is a conservative. And so that's a really important distinction that goes over a lot of people's heads, but fundamentally it's very basic. And so neoconservatism is complicated. I'm not going to get into the complicated nature of it, but liberal hawks are a much more general worldview. Neoconservatism is a much more specific worldview. Neoconservatism came out of thinkers such as Norman Podhoretz, Irving Kristol, and others back in around the 60s and 70s. It was primarily focused around at that time at least, a social conservative agenda coupled with anti-communism and an aggressive containment of the Soviet Union and promotion of democracy around the world. As neoconservatism evolved, it's obviously moderated. It's a lot more moderate now than it was, say, in the 60s or 70s. We think of people like Bill Kristol, compare him to his dad, for example. You'll see that Bill Kristol is considerably more liberal. Robert Kagan, people like that. But, you want it like your 5. Basically, a neoconservative is somebody who believes that it's America's job to spread democracy around the world and is a conservative. And so a liberal hawk, it's not as tied to any particular country. Now, of course, there are British neocons, various neocons around the world, but it's primarily centered on American exceptionalism for sure. whereas liberal hawks are centered more on Western exceptionalism to a greater extent than any particular country. With neoconservatives, you'll see more of a focus specifically that it's the US's job primarily. Now, I also happen to agree with them, but for a different reason. I believe it's due to the force and it's due to the size of America, not any ethereal values or anything about America or my constitution or any of that stuff. I think it's that, well, America's the biggest superpower, but let's say Australia had the force of America and everything, well, then Australia, that'd be their job. So that's about as simple an explanation as I can give you, but obviously it's a lot more complicated. Look into people like Podderitz, Crystal, that sort of stuff if you want to know more about neoconservatism.
Yeah,
So,
I'll probably hit you up for some links, honestly, just because I'm always down for a good read. Expand the mind. Why do you like
Yeah.
war?
now we
ass
got the mean
question.
questions.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that mean. Come on. I mean, you must like
It's
war.
a meme. It's a meme. No, but meme questions are good. I like memes. I literally run a meme page. We're over 20. We're over 2,500 followers recently. Liberal Hawk memes for moral universalist teens over on Facebook. Everybody go follow it. Links right there in the chat.
That one you posted the other day was
yeah.
pretty spicy. I'm not gonna lie.
What's that?
The one you posted the other day was pretty spicy. I enjoyed it.
Oh wait, which meme? I got a lot of memes, bro.
I know. I'm like looking at your page, and now there's like a million of them.
There's over 1,000 on there. Yeah. Since I started, I actually started that before my YouTube channel. As a matter of fact.
God, it was the one about It was like all the dictators are on one side and they're all mad.
Oh, you saw that one? I didn't make that one. I wish I made that one. That was my good friend Timothy Spin, who's a German neoconservative, and he's a great guy, absolutely great guy. Longtime patron of the channel. He's somebody. If you're interested to check out Timothy, I actually sat down with Timothy for a chat about German politics. As we know, German politics is very much subservient these days to Russia, fascist Russia. We sat down and talked about it about a year ago or so. So if you check out Chat with Timothy Spin on Superpower Broadcasting, we talked about Angela Merkel and Armin Laschet and their Turkish apologetics and their Russian apologetics. It's a lot of fun, very interesting conversation. Timothy Spin is an incredibly talented artist. He has done depictions of Kremlin Kyle Kulinski, Jimmy Dore, all these guys, make them basically angry soy jacks. I love it. He's such a memer. He's such a legend. He also made the channel trailer for Superpower Broadcasting. Go and check it out right now. It's got like Uphold Gene Kirkpatrick thought and like the techno and it's kind of psychedelic and stuff. It's great. It's very Hawkwave based. So
one last question, yes or no question, because I gotta go.
Yeah.
Is it possible for there to exist a world without war that isn't a utopia? And I'll let you just, in your own head canon, you can come up with whatever you think a utopia is. You don't have to define that for me.
Yeah, sure. No, that there is, and that world is what we would get to with a liberal hawk agenda, because it's not necessarily going to be perfect. What we're aiming for is a world in which all countries are free and democratic, and all people have their self-determination. And so in that world, some countries might not have legal weed. Some countries might have higher tax rates than others. Some countries, you want to do business, the government might take a big chunk out of your business, like in Sweden or something. Other countries, though, maybe not so much. So maybe you can go and move to those countries. And so in that regard, that would be a world without war, because all countries would be democracies. We'd all be in the liberal world order. But if you want low taxes and you want legal weed, you might be born in a country that has higher taxes and doesn't have legal weed. Well, it's still a democracy. It's still a free country. At that point, unfortunately for you, you'd have to move to another country or make a political campaign to lower taxes, get legal weed in your country. But the point there is that every country then is a democracy. And so there's no need for war to free people. Everybody's already free. So that hopefully that provides a good answer to your question. So and just to kind of finish up on that last question you asked me, obviously none of us like war. The point is that war is actually hell so is communism or fascism. At least war is temporary, just as a surgery. A surgery is very painful, right? And it can do a lot of damage to a body, right? You might have to amputate somebody, right, to save their life, but you're saving their life. For the rest of the time, for millions of years down the road, generations of kids can grow up without a dictator. And so obviously, no, war is hell. So is perpetual fascism, communism, Baathism, Islamofascism, etc. So terrorism, all that stuff. So no, we don't like war. War is a lesser evil. So
it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Good job.
Yeah, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, we should talk about objectivity and morality down the road. So where can the people find you?
Will and his channel on YouTube, at Will and his 280 on Twitter, and on Twitch, Will and his channel. So yeah.
There we go. Well, have a good night.
Peace. You too.
Talk to you later.